Hi, my name's Jonathan Hicks. I'm back at the Dice Cup, and this evening I'm joined by
John.
A-Bomb.
Bruce.
And we've just finished playing Inish, I think is how you pronounce that one. It's a area control game, essentially, but there's some interesting win conditions. So you're kind of sticking your dudes on the map here on these various territories, and one very important consideration is who controls each territory. They're called the chieftain. So this territory here, essentially, if you've got more dudes than anyone else, then you control the territory. And not only that, but this one dude that you control is important for scoring. If you manage to get up to 6 controlled dudes, then that's one of the win conditions. So in this territory here, A-Bomb's got 4, which means he's controlling my 3, so he has 3 points towards this win condition. Now, there are other things, I'll explain how this happens in a minute, that will place these various different types of buildings on the map here. One of the other victory conditions is if you control 6 of these brown buildings. So you can see A-Bomb with orange is controlling 2 here, and he's actually controlling 3 of them here. And in fact, I think A-Bomb, you managed to win, didn't you, by having all of those?
Yes.
And finally, if you have guys in 6 different areas, so Bruce did very well at getting into these green ones in lots of different areas here. It doesn't matter if you got control or not, but if you got it in 6 different areas, that's another win condition. And once you achieve a win condition, you kind of call Uno and claim one of these things here. And if it gets to the end of the turn and people haven't managed to stop you, then you win the game. So that's how you win. But in terms of how you actually play, you start off by drafting these action cards. So I'll pick one and pass the other 3 on. And then Bruce is going to give me some of his, having picked one. And then I carry on, and you carry on drafting until you've got 4 cards. And on your turn, you're usually going to play one of these cards that will do something. So this one, for example, new clans, lets me stick 2 more of my guys on the map somewhere. So you're playing these cards turn by turn, and some of the cards will add extra guys, like I've just shown you. Some of them get to add these extra buildings, like this. Some of them let you move from one place to another, and if you move from one place to another, that often triggers a clash, as it's called. So let's say I decided to move 3 guys from here into this territory, then we have a sort of 3-way fight here. These citadels are quite important though, because somebody can decide, so White might decide, oh, I don't want to get involved in this fight, and he could jump into the citadel, which means he's safe and he's not going to be involved in the fight. Fighting's very simple. You just, one at a time, you say I'm attacking, and then they either lose a guy, or you can discard one of your green action cards from your hand. And so you keep fighting until both of you, well, either until one of you dies and they've got no guys left, or until you both agree to not fight anymore, which is all very nice. So in fact, a lot of the time you can move around the map and there isn't that much fighting going on. So you play your cards, you're trying to control the different areas until one of those win conditions is met, and then you're desperately trying to stop that guy from winning the game after he declares it. All right, what do we think?
Oh, well, for this playthrough, I didn't like it. These guys know I've been moaning the entire game. As it's area control, dudes on a map. You might think I lost a lot of battles, but you're drafting. Oh yeah, sorry. For a dudes on a map game, you need to have dudes on a map. But the dudes on a map action is a card, and you draft the cards, and then you can get stuck with a bad hand basically, and you can't put any guys on the map the entire game. So yeah, I didn't like it.
Okay. Avon?
Yeah, I really like the drafting. One of the things you do is, while you take 1 and pass 3 on, and then you get another 3, you don't have to keep the 1 you originally drafted. So you can actually pick 2 out of that 4 to keep. So what you can find is if your strategy changes because of the cards coming in, you suddenly go, actually, I'm going to adapt, I'm going to move. Also the fact of, you've got various paths to victory. You can either spread out everywhere, so you just want lots of dudes everywhere, maybe citadels to hide in, or you go for a big clump of people, build lots of sanctuaries. So you've actually got different ways and approaches. I really enjoyed it. The only issue I'd say is it's a little bit like Game of Thrones. You put your head above the parapet and then everyone dives on you. And that I do find a little bit annoying in games. It's like suddenly you're 1 against 3, you feel like you're getting picked on a little bit. But then if you're winning, then you should expect that. You also get these things which you can get, which can count as one of the victory conditions. So that's how I won with only 5 sanctuaries.
Okay. Bruce?
I really enjoyed this game. Played it a couple of times now. I quite like the fact that the board expands as you play. So you start off with, say for example in a 4-player game, you might start with 4 tiles, and 3 players start with 3 tiles, and you might play a particular card and you get the board to get bigger and bigger. It's quite interesting to see people fight over the Bren, which is always a good mechanic.
That's the first player marker, isn't it?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. The limitation, I'd say, is very much the drafting. If you don't get the cards that suit your strategy, then you can have a whole turn where you don't feel like you're doing anything. So,
okay.
That's it.
Rating out of 10?
I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay. Avon?
I'll give it a 7.5.
Okay.
I mean, I don't feel like I'd have to go off my enjoyment of this playthrough, which would be about a 2, but it looks like a 9 on the table.
Okay. All right. I really enjoyed it. I don't often like area control games, but this one was great. In fact, I think it's the best area control game I've ever played. I didn't feel like I did particularly well, but the really interesting thing is, as the more sort of dudes end up on the map and more of those buildings end up on the map, you find quite a few people can be very close to winning suddenly, and it becomes a bit of a race to sort of grab different areas. And we've got to stop him, and I was having to stop Bruce and A-Bomb at the same time, and I just couldn't do it, and A-Bomb managed to sneak out a win at the end there. But I really like the way that builds until it finally climaxes. A couple of other things that I really did like that I didn't mention very much, but each of the territories here have got special ability cards. So for example, this one here, one of A-Bomb's tactics was he kept playing his Valley card, which means every time he plays one of the green cards, he then gets to stick an extra guy in that territory. So I like the fact that as you're exploring, different territories are coming out, and each territory has a different special ability. So you can decide for each game whether or not you want to go for this territory or for that territory. But you can't bank on any particular territory coming out because there's a large selection of tiles and you're not going to get them all. So lots of variation to this one. It could be played very quickly, potentially, or it could go on a bit longer if people are good at stopping each other. There's just lots to like here. I thought it was great. So I'd be on a 8.5, I think. Really enjoyed it. All right, thanks for watching. That was Inish.